Have you ever felt that sharing too much with your family sometimes does more harm than good? As we grow older, we naturally want to be open and honest with our loved ones. We believe that full transparency is always the best approach, but the reality is that some things are better kept private, not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom. Keeping certain matters to yourself can protect both your peace of mind and your relationships. In fact, not everything needs to be shared, and choosing to hold back on a few specific topics can help maintain your independence and ensure that your personal boundaries are respected. If you've ever experienced the fallout from sharing too much or felt misunderstood despite your best intentions, you're not alone. In today's discussion, we'll explore 5 key areas where keeping certain things to yourself can actually bring more peace and harmony to your life. These insights aren't about deception or creating distance. They're about understanding the power of discretion and how it can positively shape your interactions with family if you believe that maintaining your independence and protecting your well-being are essential. Take a moment to subscribe to Graceful Elderly and share this message. Your support helps spread valuable knowledge that empowers seniors to live peacefully and confidently. Let's dive into the first secret: financial decisions and assets. One of the most sensitive topics as we age is money. You might think that being completely open about your financial situation with your family will prevent misunderstandings, but in reality, it often creates more problems than it solves. Sharing every detail about your savings, investments, or even how much you've set aside for the future can lead to unsolicited advice, pressure, or even family conflicts. Different generations often have different views on money, and what you consider prudent planning might be seen by others as overly cautious or even selfish. Sometimes, family members who have shown little interest in your finances suddenly become very curious once they realize what you have. Perhaps you've seen it happen before. Someone shares their financial plans with their children only to find that every decision is questioned. Maybe you've seen a friend face constant pressure about how they should spend their money, being told they should downsize, invest differently, or set aside more for the grandchildren. It's one thing to seek advice when you truly need it, but when people start believing they have a say in your personal choices, it can become overwhelming. Once you let people in on your full financial picture, you can't take that knowledge back. You may find yourself hearing comments like, "Are you sure you should be spending that much?" Or, "Wouldn't it be smarter to give some of that away now instead of later?" Even if no one directly pressures you, just knowing that others are watching and analyzing your choices can feel uncomfortable. Keeping some financial matters private allows you to enjoy your life without unnecessary opinions or pressure. It's not about being secretive, it's about exercising wisdom. Communicate necessary details when the time is right, such as clear estate plans or essential information in case of an emergency. But you don't have to share everything. The exact amount of money you have, what you choose to spend on yourself, or any new investments are your business alone. Holding back on sharing every detail doesn't mean you're hiding something. It means you're maintaining control over your life. The second secret is equally crucial: health concerns that are not urgent. As we age, it's natural to experience more health issues, and we might feel the urge to share every little ache, pain, or discomfort with family. After all, they care about us, and we want them to know what's going on. However, there's a difference between keeping loved ones informed about important medical matters and overwhelming them with every minor issue. Constantly sharing minor health concerns can sometimes create unnecessary worry or stress. Family members, especially younger ones, may mean well, but their concern can quickly turn into pressure. You might mention a small issue like joint pain or fatigue, and suddenly you're in the middle of a debate about whether you should see a doctor, change your diet, or take a new supplement. They might start researching treatments, scheduling appointments, or making comments like, "You really need to take better care of yourself," as if you haven't been managing your own health for decades. If you constantly talk about your health issues, even the minor ones, your family may begin to see you as someone who is declining faster than you really are. They might start treating you differently, assuming you're more fragile or incapable than you actually feel. Once people start seeing you this way, it can be hard to change their perception. Of course, it's important to communicate major health concerns, especially when they impact daily life or require family support. But choosing to keep minor issues to yourself doesn't mean you're being dishonest. It simply means you're protecting your own autonomy. You have the right to manage your health without unnecessary interventions or stress. Sometimes, silence is the best way to maintain control over your well-being. The third secret to consider is your true thoughts on family conflicts. Family dynamics can be complicated, and as we get older, we often find ourselves in the middle of situations we never asked to be part of: siblings arguing over an inheritance, adult children holding grudges, or extended family members not getting along. It's tempting to step in, offer advice, or share exactly what you think about who's right and who's wrong. But more often than not, doing so only adds fuel to the fire. Maybe you've experienced this before, trying to mediate a dispute, only to find that both sides suddenly turn against you. Or you offer a strong opinion, thinking you're helping, only to realize later that your words were taken the wrong way. Family conflicts often have a way of sorting themselves out, or not, regardless of your input. And when people finally do move on, they tend to remember what was said in the heat of the moment. If you take sides or express a strong opinion, you might find that even after the argument is long forgotten, the resentment toward you still lingers. That's why one of the wisest things you can do after 65 is to practice selective silence. You don't have to agree with everything or pretend problems don't exist, but you also don't have to comment on every family situation. Instead of giving an opinion, sometimes the best response is as simple: "I hope things work out for the best," or "I trust you'll make the right decision." This allows you to stay connected without getting pulled into drama that ultimately isn't yours to fix. Keeping certain thoughts to yourself can be the key to maintaining peace, not just for your family, but for yourself. Choosing not to engage in every family conflict preserves your own emotional well-being while also respecting the independence of those involved. As we age, it's natural to develop strong opinions based on our life experiences. We've seen decades of changes: social, political, technological, and we've formed firm beliefs about what works and what doesn't. However, one of the most valuable lessons in maintaining peace, especially within the family, is knowing when to keep certain opinions to yourself. It's not that your views are unimportant. In fact, they're shaped by a lifetime of knowledge and wisdom. But sharing them at every opportunity, especially when they contradict the beliefs of younger family members, can lead to tension and misunderstanding. Sometimes offering unsolicited advice or opinions, no matter how well-intentioned, can be perceived as criticism or judgment. Take, for instance, opinions on how your children or grandchildren are raising their own kids. Maybe you feel that parenting has become too lenient, or that certain values aren't being emphasized enough. You might feel tempted to voice your thoughts, especially if you believe you're protecting the younger generation from making mistakes. But often, these comments are met with resistance. Your children might feel as if you're questioning their abilities as parents, leading to defensiveness or even distancing. Instead of stating your opinions outright, it's often more beneficial to wait until you're asked for advice. When your perspective is genuinely sought, it's more likely to be respected and considered. If you do share your thoughts, Try to frame them as personal experiences rather than directives. For example, saying, "When I was raising you, I found that being consistent with rules helped a lot," sounds less critical than, "You're too soft on your kids and they're going to be spoiled." Another area where opinions can cause friction is in matters of lifestyle choices. Perhaps your family members have adopted dietary habits, political views, or hobbies that you don't quite understand or agree with. While it may seem harmless, to make a passing comment about how things were better in the old days, younger relatives may interpret this as dismissive or outdated. It's important to remember that different generations see the world differently, shaped by the unique challenges and cultural shifts of their time. What felt right or natural to you decades ago might not resonate with the way things are done today. Instead of feeling frustrated or disregarded, embrace the idea that change is part of life. Choosing to stay curious rather than critical can strengthen your relationships rather than strain them. One way to navigate differing opinions without conflict is to practice active listening. Rather than immediately countering someone's viewpoint, take a moment to really hear what they're saying. Show interest by asking questions rather than making statements. For instance, if your grandson is passionate about a new technology you don't quite grasp, ask him to explain why he likes it instead of dismissing it as unnecessary or frivolous. When you listen without judgment, your family members feel valued and respected. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but it shows that you care about their perspective, even if it's different from yours. In turn, they may become more open to hearing your thoughts when the situation calls for it. Another sensitive area where keeping opinions to yourself can maintain peace is when it comes to family disputes that don't directly involve you. Sometimes, older family members feel the urge to step in and mediate when they see tension between siblings, cousins, or in-laws. While your intention may be to restore harmony, intervening can sometimes make the situation worse. For example, if your adult children are arguing about how to divide holiday time between their own families, stepping in with a suggestion might come across as favoring one side or undermining their ability to resolve the issue on their own. Even if you feel that your input would help, it's wise to consider whether your involvement could inadvertently escalate the conflict. Instead, offer a listening ear without taking sides. Saying something like, "I know it's tough to balance everyone's needs, let me know if you'd like to talk it out," shows support without inserting yourself into the disagreement. By remaining neutral, you preserve your role as a trusted and calming presence, rather than becoming another voice in the argument. Opinions about financial decisions within the family can also be a touchy subject. Whether it's how your children spend their money or how your grandchildren handle their careers, offering financial advice without being asked can lead to resentment. Money is a deeply personal topic, and even well-meaning advice can feel intrusive if not explicitly sought. If a family member does ask for your financial perspective, be mindful of how you present your ideas. Frame your advice as a suggestion rather than a directive. Saying, "Have you considered budgeting this way?" is gentler than, "You're wasting your money on unnecessary things." Offering support without implying criticism helps maintain respect and encourages more open conversations in the future. There are also opinions that arise around health and lifestyle choices. You may see a loved one neglecting their diet, avoiding exercise, or struggling with habits you know to be harmful. While it's natural to worry, constantly reminding them of their mistakes can create distance. Instead of pushing them to change, lead by example. Show how you prioritize your own health and let them see the benefits firsthand. Sometimes, your quiet commitment to well-being speaks louder than words if you truly feel the need to address a health concern. Choose your words carefully. Express your thoughts out of love rather than frustration. Saying, "I care about you and want to see you feeling your best" is more effective than expressing disappointment or fear. This way, your words feel like encouragement rather than criticism. Lastly, it's essential to recognize that not every opinion needs to be shared. Sometimes holding back isn't about keeping secrets or suppressing your thoughts. It's about choosing peace over conflict. There's a quiet wisdom in recognizing when your words might do more harm than good. Just because you have strong feelings doesn't mean you must always voice them. This restraint doesn't diminish your wisdom or your right to feel strongly about things. It simply means you're prioritizing the harmony of your relationships. Allow yourself the grace to observe without always commenting. You'll find that letting go of the urge to correct or advise fosters a more peaceful environment for you and your family. When you practice selective sharing, your words carry more weight when you do choose to speak. Family members will notice that when you offer input, it's thoughtful and measured rather than reactionary. This not only preserves your dignity, but also strengthens the respect others have for your opinions. One of the most challenging aspects of aging is dealing with complex emotions, feelings of loneliness, regret, or even fear about the future. As we grow older, life inevitably brings losses, changes in physical ability, and shifts in social connections. It's natural to want to share your feelings with loved ones, hoping that opening up will bring comfort and understanding. However, sharing too much too often can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. Your family members may care deeply about your well-being, but they also have their own lives, responsibilities, and stresses to manage. Sharing your worries or sadness too frequently can make them feel helpless or burdened. They may want to fix things for you, but when the problem isn't something they can resolve, it can create feelings of guilt or frustration on their end. Protect both your emotional well-being and your relationships. It's essential to balance openness with self-reliance. This doesn't mean bottling up your feelings or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it means finding ways to process your emotions in a way that nurtures you without overloading those you love. One helpful approach is to create a personal ritual for processing feelings. Set aside a quiet time each day to reflect on your emotions. You might light a candle, listen to calming music, or spend a few moments in prayer or meditation. Use this time to acknowledge what you're feeling without judgment, whether it's sadness, frustration, or uncertainty. Simply allowing yourself to feel without needing to immediately fix or explain it can be surprisingly healing. Journaling can also be a powerful tool for emotional processing. Write down your thoughts freely without worrying about how they sound or who might read them. Let your feelings flow onto the page. Sometimes just seeing your emotions in written form can help you make sense of them and reduce their intensity. You may find that once you've expressed your fears or regrets on paper, they feel a bit less overwhelming. If you find that your emotions are too heavy to carry alone, consider speaking with a therapist or counselor rather than family members. A professional can offer unbiased support, practical coping strategies, and a safe space to explore your feelings without worrying about how your words might impact your loved ones. Therapy is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of self-care. You might also consider joining a support group where you can share your experiences with others who truly understand. Sometimes being around people who face similar challenges can make you feel less isolated. You'll find that expressing your thoughts to those who have walked a similar path can be both comforting and validating. When you do choose to share your feelings with family, be mindful of how you present them. Instead of venting every frustration or expressing despair, frame your words in a way that invites empathy without placing a burden on the listener. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so lonely and no one cares about me," try Sometimes I feel lonely, and I'm working on finding ways to feel more connected. This approach shows that you are aware of your feelings and actively trying to manage them, rather than appearing entirely dependent on others for comfort. One key aspect of managing your emotions is setting boundaries on how much you disclose. While honesty is important, not every emotion needs to be shared with family members, especially if it might worry or overwhelm them. You can still be truthful while keeping some thoughts private. Sometimes saying less protects both your peace of mind and your family's sense of security. It's also important to be kind to yourself when emotions feel overwhelming. Self-compassion means recognizing that it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to not always have everything figured out. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend, gently, supportively, and without harsh criticism. Remind yourself that feelings are temporary and that it's natural to have ups and downs. Finding healthy outlets for your emotions is crucial. Creative activities like painting, crafting, or playing music can channel your feelings into something beautiful and meaningful. Physical movement, such as walking or gentle stretching, can also release built-up tension and clear your mind. Sometimes, moving your body helps shift your mood in ways that sitting still cannot. Another powerful strategy is to connect with nature. Spending time outdoors, whether it's gardening, sitting in a park, or simply watching birds from your window, can offer a sense of peace and perspective. Nature's rhythms remind us that change is a natural part of life and that renewal is possible even after difficult seasons. If you find that your emotions are affecting your daily life, making it hard to eat, sleep, or find enjoyment, don't hesitate to seek medical advice. Depression and anxiety can manifest differently as we age, and sometimes physical health issues can mimic or worsen emotional distress. A healthcare professional can help determine whether underlying medical conditions might be contributing to how you feel. It's also helpful to cultivate daily practices that foster positivity. Start each morning by focusing on one thing you're grateful for. Reflect on small achievements from the previous day, whether it's finishing a book, making a healthy meal, or simply reaching out to someone. Building a mindset that celebrates small victories helps counterbalance the weight of more challenging emotions. When you do share your feelings with family, be selective about when and how you do it. Choose moments when both you and your loved ones are calm and open to conversation. Preface your thoughts by saying something like, "I've been feeling a bit down lately, and I just needed someone to talk to. I'm working on it, but sharing helps me feel less alone." This approach shows that you're taking responsibility for your feelings while also inviting support. Finally, remember that managing emotions is not about suppressing them, but about handling them wisely. Your feelings are valid, and it's natural to experience a range of emotions as you age. The goal is to acknowledge them without letting them dictate your relationships or overwhelm those you care about. By nurturing your emotional health through personal reflection, creative expression, professional support, and selective sharing, you empower yourself to face life's changes with resilience and grace. It's about finding that balance between being open enough to feel connected and private enough to maintain your sense of self. In this way, you protect your well-being while also allowing space for love, growth, and deeper connections with those around you. One of the most important aspects of aging gracefully is maintaining your sense of independence. As the years go by, it's natural for family members to want to step in and help more, often out of genuine love and concern. However, this well-meaning assistance can sometimes feel overwhelming, leaving you feeling as though your autonomy is slipping away. Finding a balance between accepting help and maintaining your independence is key to preserving your self-respect and dignity. Independence doesn't mean doing everything on your own or refusing support when you truly need it. Instead, it's about having control over your own choices and maintaining a sense of purpose. It's important to remind both yourself and your loved ones that you are still capable of making decisions about your life, even if you occasionally need assistance. One of the best ways to maintain your independence is by setting clear boundaries. When family members offer help that feels intrusive or unnecessary, it's okay to kindly but firmly express your preferences. For instance, if someone insists on handling your finances when you feel confident managing them yourself, respond with something like, "I really appreciate your concern, but I've got this covered. I'll let you know if I need help." This approach acknowledges their good intentions while reinforcing your capability. Sometimes, family members might pressure you to move in with them or relocate to a care facility before you're ready. While their concerns may be valid, the decision ultimately belongs to you. It's essential to evaluate your own comfort level and be honest about what you truly want. If staying in your own home brings you peace, communicate that clearly while also addressing their worries. Reassure them that you're taking steps to stay safe, like installing mobility aids or arranging for a caregiver if needed. Another aspect of maintaining independence is taking control of your daily routine. As you age, routines provide stability and a sense of purpose. Even if your physical abilities change, adapt your routine rather than giving it up. If you can no longer walk as far as you once did, switch to shorter strolls around the garden or light exercises at home. Keeping a regular schedule, even if it's simpler than before, helps maintain a sense of normalcy. Learning new skills can also foster independence. Technology, for example, can seem daunting at first, but mastering basic smartphone functions or video calls can empower you to stay connected on your own terms. Taking a class at a community center or asking a grandchild to teach you how to use a tablet can boost your confidence. By embracing new tools, you reduce your reliance on others. For everyday communication, financial independence is equally crucial. Even if you receive support from family or social programs, managing your own finances when possible helps maintain your autonomy. Set up online banking to easily track your expenses and ensure that your bills are paid on time. If budgeting becomes challenging, consult a financial advisor rather than handing complete control to someone else. Being involved in your financial decisions, even partially, helps maintain your self-sufficiency while staying independent. It's also vital to know when to accept help without feeling defeated. Independence doesn't mean rejecting assistance out of pride. Sometimes, allowing family or friends to lend a hand can actually strengthen your sense of autonomy by enabling you to continue living the way you prefer. For example, accepting help with grocery shopping means you can still choose your meals and enjoy cooking, rather than feeling burdened by the physical effort. Preserving your independence also means staying proactive about your health and wellness. Regular checkups, staying active, and eating well are fundamental to maintaining both physical and mental independence. Sometimes, health challenges make it harder to keep up with your routine, but focusing on small, manageable goals can help. If walking long distances is no longer possible, chair exercises or stretching routines can keep your body active. Another vital part of maintaining independence is being prepared for emergencies. Setting up systems like a medical alert device or having an emergency contact list readily available ensures that you can get help when needed without constantly relying on family members. Taking these precautions shows your loved ones that you are responsible and proactive about your safety, which can reduce their anxiety and give you more control over your daily life. Cultivating mental independence is just as important as physical autonomy. Keep your mind sharp by continuing to learn, staying curious, and challenging your brain with puzzles, reading, or creative hobbies. engaging in thoughtful discussions, or writing down your reflections helps maintain your cognitive abilities, reminding both you and your loved ones that your mind remains active and engaged. Building a social support network outside of immediate family also reinforces your independence. Friends, neighbors, or community groups can provide companionship and practical assistance without making you feel overly dependent on your children or grandchildren. Having multiple sources of support spreads out the responsibility and keeps you socially active. One of the most empowering things you can do is voice your preferences before they become urgent. Consider creating an advanced care directive or discussing your wishes regarding medical treatment while you're healthy and clear-minded. Knowing that your decisions are documented can relieve stress for both you and your family. It shows that you have taken charge of your future and are prepared to face challenges on your terms. Sometimes, maintaining independence also means being honest about limitations. It's not a failure to admit that certain tasks have become too difficult. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, think about how you can adapt. Maybe cooking every meal feels overwhelming, so focus on preparing breakfast and lunch while accepting help for dinner. Adjusting your approach rather than giving up entirely keeps your sense of agency intact. Finally, remember that independence is a mindset. It's not just about physical abilities or living arrangements. It's about making choices that honor your values, preferences, and dignity. Speak openly about what matters to you and advocate for your own needs. Even when adjustments are necessary, maintaining a voice in those decisions upholds your sense of self. Aging does not mean giving up control over your life. By setting boundaries, staying proactive, and embracing help when needed, you maintain a balance between independence and interdependence. Your choices reflect your identity, and living on your terms brings peace, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment. Finding this balance allows you to enjoy your years with a spirit of resilience and pride. Independence is not just about doing everything alone. It's about being true to yourself while allowing support to complement your journey. When your loved ones see you confidently managing your life, they are more likely to respect your boundaries and support your decisions with greater understanding and compassion.